There are two things that every good dictator needs: a mass grave design consultant and a collection of gold guns. I mean, I don't need to explain this one too much, do I? It's a gold AK. You love it, I love it, dictators love it. Whenever you see a dictator get overthrown on the news and they're touring their ridiculously opulent mansions, they always tend to find a couple of things: rare white tiger breeding grounds and AK-47s that are gold. And since white tigers are hard to come by, I decided the AK was the way to go. This particular AK started as a classic Army sport line model that was bad. Plastic everything with the exception of a halfway decent gearbox. The wood is terrible. Look how bad this plastic wood looks. You have a rear sight that is adjustable for elevation like any other AK sight, except for, well, since I painted mine gold and did a piss poor job of it, you can see some of the problems there. I did give good attention to detail though, and even painted underneath the dust cover. But when you pull back the charging handle, it's still just black plastic. The butt pad comes off easily just by clicking it down, sometimes on its own because it's kind of terrible, and you have a large type plug but only a small type area to fit the battery. You got a gold maraca of doom as a magazine. You do have firing modes, but they're all full auto. So I suppose you don't want to shoot in semi-auto, and sometimes you don't want to shoot in full auto either. Really, it's best just to kind of wiggle it around and just shoot. The high power, on the other hand, was actually inspired by a very specific gun. It was inspired by the gun that was quite literally pulled out of Muammar Gaddafi's cold dead hands by an unruly mob. I'm not saying it was an unjust mob, he was a pretty terrible guy, but I digress. With the high power, the paint job has gone south. You have a rear sight that's adjustable for shooting a mile or so away, even though there's no hop up. And you have one of the single worst triggers of any gun that I have tested in a long time. It's just bad, but the magazine disconnect does work, and that's fun to play with sometimes. When you shoot the gun, you can go through rounds pretty quickly, but because that terrible trigger's there, it's just bad. And when you run out of gas, it hisses at you like an angry cat. So remember, kids, if you want to be a dictator, before you get to the ethnic cleansing, start with the simple things, like gold guns.